This is Lyndon Yorke. He's been voted Britain's most eccentric man. He builds crazy inventions, collects unique things, and has a huge collection of historic cars. We spent a day with him, he showed us around, and he even took us for a drive on the River Thames in one of his amphibious cars. We are now knocking on the door of Britain's most eccentric man. Not knocking, ringing. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Tom.
Lyndon.
So Lyndon, you are Britain's most eccentric man. What do you define as eccentric? What is eccentric mean to you?
Well, it's when I meet people, you get a wide spectrum of people. A lot of people, 99% of people, you can pigeonhole. They fit into certain categories or certain types. But there's that 1% who don't fit into those categories, and often they turn out to be eccentric people. Not necessarily overtly eccentric, but the way they dress, the things they do, things they say, tend to be creative people. In fact, there's a club in London that's been running since 1871. It's the Eccentric Club. In London, way back in those days, they had clubs for every category of gentlemen. It was gentlemen in those days. And there were the non-pigeonholable type people, and they formed the Eccentric Club.
No matter where you looked in Lyndon's garden, there was something unconventional. Whether it was a short-sighted sheep climbing a tree or an invention of his.
This frightens the pigeons away. And as this came out the water, it's articulated, and it had flashing eyes. And the Queen saw it and smiled. The pea-eating machine, which is ongoing project here.
Lyndon also built some contraptions during lockdown to help us all socially distance a bit better, such as a social distancing helmet and social distancing shoes so you can't get within 2 meters of each other, a hat that helps blow away any viral particles in the air, and my favourite, the antisocial drinking distancing machine.
This is another device made for the COVID period. So you had a chair, I guess, to each end, and you could spin this round from one end to the other to swap glasses. Or if you wanted to refill, you could slide without getting near them, you could slide the bottle down from one end to the other, so that legally allowed you to drink with someone 2 meters away.
Lyndon isn't just an inventor, but he's a collector too. His garden is filled with historic vehicles, some as old as 102 years old. A vehicle is something that you've been interested in from a very young age as well then?
Yeah, anything old and mechanical, things with sprockets and cogs and chains and moving parts, that's always fascinated me. So hence the old cars. I had my first old car at the age of 15, a car I found in an old barn.
Oh wow.
So that sort of sparked the interest off. That's a Model T Ford, top hat saloon, so it was designed to be very tall so you could wear a top hat to go to the opera in. This is 102 years old.
And that still runs well?
It all runs well. It's been stuck away in a private collection for many, many years, so it only came out of hibernation a few years ago.
What's its top speed?
About 40, 45 on a good day.
Okay. Downhill,
yeah. Wind behind, all the rest of it, yeah.
As you can imagine, Lyndon has built some vehicles too. He's hand-woven 2 wicker cars and a wicker plane. He has a couple of propeller-powered mopeds and bikes, and one of his largest inventions is Tritania, a water-based electric-powered trike.
Yeah, here we have Tritania. A lot of my machines are called Tri-something because they originally started off as 3-wheel devices. So this is based on a 1930s electric bath chair, which is like an early form of invalid carriage, which again I wickerwork, so I've got a wickerwork boat, a wickerwork aeroplane and a wickerwork car. Made the floats, and it actually gets me free drinks up and down the river. I don't know if it's because people feel sorry for me, but I tell them I'm saving up for a boat. But yeah, let me switch a couple of things on here. There's various apparatus, rotating umbrella, my friendly pigeon. The other float is actually a wind-up gramophone that does play music.
Does that play?
Let me just
Yeah,
demonstrate
I'd love to hear that. Yeah.
I think the car that sort of piqued my interest the most was the Amphibious Car.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about, or you've got 2 amphibious cars.
Yes,
Tell us a little bit about those.
Well, before I had the amphibious cars, I had a steamboat from 1898, which was great fun messing around with steam, but it required a lot of lead-in time, lead-out time, maintenance, looking after. So I had an idea of getting an amphibious car, so hunted around and found Tim Dutton down in Littlehampton, who makes kits where you find your own donor vehicle, buy the kit, and make your own amphibious car.
Lyndon could tell how excited we were to go for a drive in the amphibious car, so he gave it a quick clean for us and we set off towards the Marlow slipway of the River Thames. We drove through town, roof down, with the wind in our hair, getting inquisitive looks from onlookers and locals calling out Lyndon's name from across the street. Okay. Friend of yours?
So many people know me in the car, I just have to pretend I know them.
So we pulled up to the slip and it was time to drive into the river. Here we go. Whoa. It's no longer a car, it is now a boat. We're driving a car on the water. How often do you come out for a drive on the River Thames?
It just pretty spontaneously if the weather's right and the girlfriend wants to come. Any excuse to go for a ride.
Yeah. It's a good day for it today.
Yeah.
What's the top speed when you're here in the water?
Well, you restrict it to 4 knots anyway. River regulations, but it doesn't do. This one doesn't do much more than that. But the other one goes quite fast.
And how fast is it on the road?
It's cruising about 55, 60. It's got no reverse, so you've got to be really careful of other traffic.
If someone wanted to build their own amphibious kit car, how much is that going to cost them?
It's about 10 grand for the kit, and then you find a suitable donor car. Most people find a crashed one, so because all you want is running gear, which you can get for £2,000 or £3,000, and then all the hours that go into it.
Okay, so all in all, like actual money wise, sort of like 15 grand, you should be sorted.
Yeah.
Hear that? Only 15 grand and you can have an amphibious car yourself.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that, Lyndon. Yeah, that was brilliant.
Enjoyed it. That look right.
If you want to hear more about Lyndon's inventions and adventures, we've uploaded a whole conversation with him on our podcast channel, so check the link in the description for that. Thanks to Lyndon for spending a day with us and showing us around. If you know of any other eccentric or unique people, let us know in the comments. We'd love to meet more people like Lyndon.